Hello Super Sentai fans, and welcome back to my Project Unlock series here on Toku Topics. I'm so excited that this is in front of me here. I wasn't sure how long it was going to be until I got one of these in my collection, and the opportunity presented itself, and I was able to pull the trigger on it for a really good deal. So the box probably already spoils what this is. The thumbnail, I'm sure, spoils what this is already. This is one of the strangest premium Bandai Ranger key sets that they ever made. Actually, I was going to say it's the strangest, but they made an entire set based off of a completely different tokusatsu show, so, that was probably the weirdest. But this is really strange. This is a perfect set that is basically a testament to how popular Gokaiger, Ranger Keys, and Kyoryuger was. It was just the perfect storm of all those things coming together that this set even exists in the first place. So, I got the original Kyoryuger Ranger Key set at the time of this video 7 years ago. I got it in 2016. Back then, it was only 3 years old, and I got a pretty good deal on it. The Kyoryuger key sets, in general, cost a lot of money. They're very popular Ranger key sets. They're very expensive when they came out. They're very expensive now, especially. And this one, I always saw it going for $200, $250-ish. I won this. It was a journey. It was a journey. It actually turned out a friend of mine was actually bidding on this at the same time, but he gave up and let me get it. So I really appreciate that. But I got this for $150, which is really good. Really good. I'm so excited. So I think, if I remember correctly, I remember back when the set was first announced back in 2014, because this key set is nearly 10 years old, there was a thing on the Toku Nation blog about it, the whole news article, that said that there was only 3,000 of these produced, and I don't actually know how true that is, because even though I do find it, every time I find it, it's expensive, I've seen it numerous times over the last 10 years. I just never bit the bullet on it. So I don't know if there's actually only 3,000 of these or not, but it has its original Bandai shipper box, which I think is really cool. And inside, without further ado, the second to last premium set that I still need for my collection. It is the Deboth Ranger Key set, or the Deboth Ranger Key set, which is so strange. So, because you have these really interesting keys. I just realized this is the first time I'm ever going to have any of the Mecha style keys, because, spoiler, Movie Edition that has the Megazord keys is the only premium Bandai key set at this point that I do not have. I also needed this for the other Kyoryuger that this comes with. It's a little beat up, but I do not care. I'm so excited. So let's take this out carefully. This is a pretty big box after all. Don't want to damage it even further, so let's carefully slide it out. Ranger key set, Juden Sentai Kyoryuger. Very shiny box, very reflective. You have the Deboth logo right there. And then you already saw the top of it, but the back of it, oh, there's even the paper and the tray there. That's really nice. Love this silhouette. That's a really cool silhouette. That's probably going to be the picture behind in the thumbnail. I really like that a lot, of all the Deboth keys and Death Ryuger. So there's that. It comes with 10 Ranger keys. So we're not adding a ton to the collection, but we are adding some pretty important ones. On the bottom, it shows that you get the original voice devices for all these, because this is back in the era where they did that. Where they did that for 3 different sets. So the original Kyoryuger set, this set, and the Tokuger set had one of them. And they never did it again. So there's that. I am happy that these are there, because that means not only do I complete the Kyoryuger keys, but I finally complete these. I have a slot specifically meant for those in my key case, and now I can finally be done with it. So speaking of those, that is in the bottom tray here. So here is the really pretty box with the really pretty chrome. I'm going to say pretty so many different times there. It's so reflective. I'm standing right there in it. Hello. But this is the original sound devices. So you actually don't get one for every key in here. You get one for most of the keys. I think that is, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that how the numbers work? Yeah, there's 9 of them in here, and there's 10 keys. So Kyoryu Navy does not get one. The Kyoryu Cyan and Kyoryu Gray ones that are here are the exact same as the ones that were in the original Kyoryuger key set, and none of these have their tabs or anything like that, but that's fine. I do like, though, a lot that they had that metallic on the Aigeron key carry over to the sound barrel. I think that's really cool. So you get one for, let's see, do I remember everybody's names? We have Chaos, Canderella, Endorf, I just said it, Aigeron, Lakuro, actually, that's probably Dogold, and that's Endorf. And then Death Ryuger, Kyoryu Cyan, and Kyoryu Gray. So we will take a look at those, see if they all work and everything like that, once we take a look at the keys. So for some reason, They're like, oh my god, they're new. Every time I do this with a premium Bandai key set, I'm like, hopefully I got a good deal and everything's complete. And then I get them and they're like brand new sealed in the package. Like, look at this. Stickers have not been applied. We have the duplicate set of stickers. $150 is a steal for this. Like I said, I usually see this for like $200, $250, $300, even higher than that sometimes. You also never get to see much of merchandise for any of the Visa Next characters, like Kyoryu Navy here, which is just super cool. And then the set also has these, which are these little tiny little rubber key bracers, because some of these keys are so wild in their design, like Chaos here, so where he cannot stand because of this. So they give you these little bracers that can fit into these little pegs that have always been on every single Ranger key ever. So if you really want to, you can actually use these little rubber pegs for any Ranger key, but they're designed for, I think, pretty much everybody here for the Deboth keys. So I'm going to go ahead and unbag everybody, put their stickers on, which is just the back sticker, which is really nice, and we'll take a look at the set. So first up we have Chaos, which this is a really nice rubber piece there, so you don't have to worry about this breaking. But like, what an interesting key design, you know? Like, they have his whole kind of dress thing here, so you don't have the black in between there. He just kind of like breaks all the rules of a Ranger key, but still is a Ranger key. Like, you have this completely different head mold, which is covered in rubber and stuff like that, so you don't have to worry about anything snapping off. You get beautiful detail there with the sculpting and the paint. I mean, it's really, really slick. It's just such a weird thing, though, because, like, what would the context for this existing be? Any of them, really, but, like, it's just such a strange thing. But it is really pretty. Love the metallic paint there. Just love the design of it so much. You get the broken torch there, which is accurate. And then, of course, in key mode, there is that. And it just plays kind of the typical sort of like, you know, special Ranger key sound kind of thing, as all the other ones did for the most part. Although I'm pretty sure they all even have the same like key cut and everything. Yes, they do. Yeah, they just have like the same kind of key cut. They do have the unique key like color notches, so these will still work in like the Galleon Buster and the Saber and stuff like that. Although I don't know, honestly, you'd be able to fit them in the Galleon Buster, but I don't even know if you'd be able to fit this in the Saber because of like this extra pieces. So there's really not much you can do with these keys, and I can feel the top heaviness, the weight of that. So it's an interesting one, but I do quite like it. And next up is Canderilla, which has these giant rubber hearts back there, and I wouldn't say that these feel sticky, but I'm just kind of, if there's anything about this set I'm kind of worried about, is just sort of the long haul integrity of this rubber and how it's going to hold up. I hope that it doesn't like start to like break down and stuff over time, because I mean, these are nearly 10 years old, and I did just remove them from their plastic and everything, and they're going to go straight back into like a foam case, so they should be all safe. But like, you know, it's an interesting thing. But this one just has so much paint on it to capture her design. It's very bright, it's very happy and colorful, and it's just another fantastic, really interesting Ranger key. So of course, you just have the pink Deboth logo there, all that kind of stuff, which I didn't fully push the sticker down there, or maybe I did. Yeah, good enough. But there is Canderilla, is the next key in the set. I definitely never thought that the first time I was going to be holding the Mecha or Megazord key mold in my life was going to be with Dogold, but here we are. So this is a nice mold. I never had one of these in person in my collection, and I really like it. So it's a nice bulkier kind of mold. I think it fits Dogold very nicely. This one, as you can see, his horns have definitely over time moved to like this direction, but they are rubber, so they should just be able to kind of fix themselves. But there's kind of a look at him. Probably one of my favorite characters in both Kyoryu and Dino Fury. His name is Fury Dino Charge. So I really like that quite a bit. And then here he is as a key. So of course he has the boxier, bulkier design, because he is based off of that Megazord mold, which I think was, like I said, a good reuse of this to kind of capture some different sort of looking key molds for these definitely different looking keys. And then next up we have what I think is one of the more prettier keys in the set, and that is Aigeron. Just because you have this really cool metallic silver, but it's sort of kind of like an off like silverish blue kind of color. It looks really cool in person, and I think they captured the design of this really nicely. Just like the Dogold before him, he is done up in basically the Megazord kind of style mold. You can also see that they did not apply the paint kind of where the shoulder joints are and where the key hinges. That way it just doesn't chip and everything like that, which I can easily very much appreciate that. And then here is his key mode with kind of the off blue sort of sticker there, which I think looks pretty good. So for Lucero, his key is sort of a hybrid of both a regular Ranger key and the Mecha key, but I think that works really well for him. especially because he's like a smaller character, and this kind of looks weird as it is because they have to like make him the full size of a key. But I really like that detail there. I mean, pretty much the same thing I'm going to say for all these guys. They're really, really nicely detailed. They're just such interesting keys. Now him, you can't really get the arms like all the way up as like a typical key. You sort of can, but you kind of are moving these out of the way for that. So like it's kind of an interesting one there. These are definitely, you know, I'm assuming not designed to be keys all the time, that kind of thing. They just, I don't really know what this is, like why this set exists, to be honest. It's just such a weird thing. And I just realized that the key does not really want to stay like in the legs. Like it's just kind of like that. I'm not sure if the mecha keys are like that, but there is Lucky Row. And then the final uniquely sculpted key in here is my personal favorite of the Deboth generals, both in just like design and character, Endolf. And he is the sort of opposite of Lucky Row, where his legs are a regular ranger key and his arms are a mecha key. But once again, I think it works for his character, I think it works for his design. Really, really good there. And then of course he's sort of basically more like a typical ranger key because he has that kind of layout there with just the mecha arms. But there is Endolf. And now finally we have our first actual ranger key in this ranger key set, which is one of my personal favorite ranger key designs or ranger suit designs like ever, and that is Death Ryuger. And I love that this key exists. I love that this character has a key. I love that they kind of captured the whole like fin that he has, the sort of unique arms there with the whole like, you know, printing and stuff there. I think it looks perfect, fits in with all the other Kyoji keys so nicely, and I'm really happy that this key exists. And of course he still has the Deboth logo, just like the rest of the generals, even though he is a ranger, but of course this makes sense, he's still a Deboth member and such like that. He's not a Kyoryuger per se, even though he is, but you know, an evil one. So I'm really happy that Death Ryuger has a key here. It's just a really cool thing to see a movie character, a movie exclusive suit, and a character that has such an interesting history of Power Rangers have a ranger key like this. I think it's just really, really neat. And the next two keys are keys that I don't think are super exciting, but okay. You know, this is back then with Kyoryuger and Tokyuger, they just kind of went nuts and all out with the keys that they could make. So one of the keys we get here is female Kyoryu Cyan, No-san or Kyoryu Blue's sister, also Deca Yellow's actress who became Kyoryu Cyan in a live version and a female version at the end of the show for like 2 fights or something like that. Which like, okay, sure, why not? So we have another version here, which I guess is because of the fact that they made both Kyoryu Violets back on the first key set, so they're like, well, we'll give you the other Cyan and the other Gray. But it's the same exact key as the original Kyoryu Cyan. It's just all they did was change the paint on the chest to be yellow and added the little skirt lines that ranger keys typically have. So like, okay, it's here, it exists. And this Kyoryu Gray key is the exact same way for this one too. This one is even less different than the Kyoryu Cyan, because the only difference between this one is that this is the Alive version, where the chest has the yellow squares, or those are squares, diamonds, nope, oh my gosh, triangles, compared to like the kind of bronzest ones that were on the original one, the bronze ones. So, you know, it's pretty much the same exact key. They still have the silver up there that the original one had. I like Kyoryu Gray's suit a lot, so like, cool, looks great as a key, but it's just like, okay, did it really need to exist? Sure, I guess, why not? And then the final key in this set is one that I'm very happy is here. This one was teased as a secret key back when the set was originally revealed, because at the time the Visa Next film hadn't been released and stuff like that, but now obviously, you know, the key set released and it came with it, and that is Kyoryu Navy, the good, purified, future version of Death Ryuger, the kind of official 11th Kyoryuger per se, and I believe that this is like the only piece of merchandise that exists for Kyoryu Navy. It's a very obscure suit that does not appear very long, but I'm happy that it's here as a key. It's one of those things, this is like the perfect example as to why I love the Ranger Key toy line so much, is that it gave Visa Next exclusive characters and very, very one-off characters like Deca Gold, Kyoryu Navy, Toku Nanago, the Mido Ninja from the Ninja's Visa Next and everything. It gave them like the only available versions of action figures or like any kind of thing. So I'm really happy that this exists in this key set, and I think it is a pretty nice looking Ranger Key. Alright, so let's go ahead and test out the original voice devices, or the key barrels as I like to call them. So all of these, you can use any key. It does not matter what key you put in there. It's just clicking a button, but they are, you know, obviously color-coded and everything to everybody. And like I mentioned earlier, Kyoryu Navy unfortunately does not get one. But here is Chaos. And they all just have one phrase. I'm pretty sure all just have one phrase. So there was a second sound in there, but that one was glitching out real for a minute there. Okay, Doe Gold. You go back there, buddy. I relate to this buddy a lot. I get headaches. I think there's a second one for him. There is. And there they are. So now it's time to put some keys into my key cases. Okay, so we're back to the key case here, and I've had these slots cut out in this key case like literally for like 6 years waiting to get these specific keys. So finally right here we can put this figure right there, Kyoryu Siam, then Kyoryu Gray, so we finally have that row complete. And then we have Death Ranger is going to go here. And then right before Toku Ichigo, we have Kyoryu Navy. And there we go. That row is 100% complete, and Kyoryuger is done. And at long last, there is every one of the key barrels, very kind of tightly put in there. This case is not used to those being in there, like it is these ones. But here is every little key barrel put into the case that has my original Mobiarts, Legend, and Gokai Cellular. So this case is pretty much done. It's just missing, essentially, there was a Go on Wings key that used to go there, but I need to kind of redo this part because it's kind of falling apart. But I need to get the other Aqua Red key in there somewhere someday. But here is the Endorf key, if you just want to be curious what these do. Pretty much exactly what you expect. But there we go. Alright, so with that is going to do it for this episode of Project Unlock here. So, I also wanted to show off real quick before I left. Here's the little key bracers plugged into the bottom of Chaos's key, and there he is standing up there. But this is such an interesting set that I'm just so happy that I finally own. The Kyoryuger keys are gorgeous. These are very unique keys. They go very, very nicely with this key, the Torin key, from the original Kyoryuger key set back in the day. So, you know, they kind of are a little fitting match there, which is pretty cool. And I really, really like them a lot. So here's the updated key counter, adding these 10 keys to the key list. And now all that remains is Ranger Key Set Movie Edition, being the last premium Bandai key set that I need to track down, which is really strange because it's probably one of my favorite key sets, and I just don't have it yet. So hopefully I get it eventually, hopefully by like the end of the year or something, to wrap up the premium Bandai keys. But we're getting there. We're knocking out the really expensive ones. We're knocking out the hard to find ones. And if this is true, this set only has 3,000 in existence, then I'm very happy that I was able to get one. So I have a full key collection. So, of course, for next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or LennyFPR. And I will talk to you all later on Project Unlock, where we're always searching for the next key. To wrap up this video, I'd like to thank my $5 and above patrons: Jurassic Samurai, Robert Browning, Static Thunder, Brendan Overland, Maji Yellow, MCPC Studios, Comics 1017, James Darty, Eric Berry, Matthew Thorne, Josh Landry, Pyramidus, CPT Tesla, Cross SCV, Caboose Ed, Socket Monsters, Anthony Love, Daniel Pika, Hella Geo, Thrasher, Jesus Prime, Uni Warrior Thomas, and Lewis Carnes. You can support Toku Topics for as little as $1 a month on my Patreon, linked in the description below.